In this digital workshop, we're going to talk about the chemistry of water sources. We're going to be looking at how the quality of water is affected by the surroundings of its source. But before we get into the details about the quality of water, we want to look at how water is used in society today. Water is hugely important to the survival of living beings on planet Earth, whether that's from drinking it, living in it, or absorbing it. Without water, life on Earth just wouldn't be sustainable. As humans, the way we use water has changed over time. It was once the primary method for transporting goods and people. It's now used as a means to create electricity. Although its role has changed, water is still integral to our way of life. We've created an online survey for you to tell us how many uses for water you can think of. Try and think of some creative options. Pause the video here and click the link on our website to find the survey. Keep an eye on our Twitter to see what answers other people gave and see how innovative your answers were. Here's what we've chosen. We've chosen just a few examples of how water is used in today's society, from the traditional uses of agriculture and transport to firefighting and energy production. The most common use that first comes to many minds is drinking water. But what does our body need water for? It's used in so many ways, as you can see on the right hand side of the slide here. These are the reasons we need to stay hydrated. The most significant use our body has for water is in the blood, where water makes up around half of the blood. The blood is crucial in moving nutrients around the body to where they're needed. Water is also key in flushing waste products out of our body in our urine. We've discussed what we need water for, but how does it get to us? The water cycle is a natural process that occurs over and over and over. Pause the video here and see if you can put the 4 steps in the correct order. This is the correct order. We'll start with evaporation. The sun's energy heats the water, causing it to evaporate into the atmosphere. Once it reaches the atmosphere, the water cools and it condenses to form clouds. These clouds fill with water, they get heavier, and as they do, the water falls out of them back down to Earth as rain, or precipitation. As the rain falls, it collects on Earth in rivers, lakes, and oceans. These 4 steps happen over and over and cause water to move to different areas of our planet. We want to concentrate on these 2 steps, precipitation and collection, or rain and our rivers and lakes. These 2 steps are what give water its different properties. As the water falls from the atmosphere, it lands in areas with different rock and soil types. The water flows through the soil and the rocks and dissolves certain natural chemicals, like the salt in seawater. Whether the water takes on chemicals or not is dependent on the type of land it flows over. The 2 types we are considering are porous and non-porous land. To discuss porosity, we need to know what pores are. Pores are little holes in a surface. You may have heard of them because we have them all over our body to release sweat and oils onto our skin, keeping us cool and healthy. It's not just on our skin that pores appear though. Certain rocks have pores as well. This means that water can get into them and dissolve small amounts of chemical residues that are present. The amount of these chemicals dissolved can change the properties of the water, whether it be that it tastes a little differently or how well it conducts electricity. This is a short animation from a company who produce water treatment equipment, exhibiting how non-porous rocks stop chemicals from getting into our water. It shows how the water is unable to run down through the rock to the chemicals in the soil underneath. Instead, it just runs down to the nearest river or lake. We've seen how chemicals are kept from our water, but how do they get into it? On our website, below this presentation, there is a link to instructions on how to do a practical using equipment that can be found in the home, which will demonstrate how chemicals do get into our water. You can pause the video here to do the experiment now, or wait until we finish the presentation and do it then. Now we've seen how chemicals can sometimes get into our water, but don't always. What does this mean for the water? This leads to water being called hard or soft. Soft water has very few chemicals in it, meaning hard water does contain these natural chemicals we've been discussing. Here in North Wales, most of us have soft water. This means that our water doesn't contain many chemicals and that our appliances, our washing machines, dishwashers, etc., don't build up limescale as we use them. Why do we have soft water? Well, there's a couple of significant reasons. Firstly, we get a lot of rain in the area, so the concentration of the chemicals is reduced. Think of it like squash. The squash itself is strong in flavour and in colour, but the more water that gets added, the weaker the flavour and the colour. The rock types in the region also keep our water soft, as they are mostly non-porous. Rocks such as the slate in Bethesda and Llanberis, which we know how well it keeps water out because it's used on roofs worldwide, keeping water out of our houses and keeping them dry. It's not just the natural world that affects our water quality though. We as humans have processes that can change the conditions in our waterways. Some of these are done deliberately with good intentions but can have unintended consequences, while others are done accidentally and can be disastrous. Some of these deliberate factors include treating our drinking water to keep it clear of harmful bacteria and chemicals, but the treatment can leave non-harmful chemicals behind. Swimming pools use chlorine to keep them clean. Then the chlorine-containing pool water drains away into the waterways, but is in such small quantities that it's still safe. While these are quite small factors, other larger things can be done, such as diverting the course of a river to avoid a contaminated area. Accidental factors can vary hugely, as can their effects. Certain ones, such as fuel leaks from ships, can happen without anybody on board knowing until it's far too late, and does harm to wildlife living in waters nearby. Farmers who use fertilizers to grow their crops can get caught out by an unexpected rain shower, washing the freshly spread fertilizers into the nearest body of water. In areas where mining has taken place, chemicals that were deep underground have been brought up to the surface and are dissolved as water runs over the unearthed rocks and soils. Another more large-scale factor is the change in pH caused by greenhouse gases. As discussed in our previous workshop, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere dissolves in the seas and oceans, causing them to become more acidic, dissolving other chemicals due to the change in conditions. How do we know what's in our water? In order to ensure that our water is safe, it is tested often for the presence of chemicals which could cause us harm. We're going to be doing a virtual experiment. These are test strips which are available and change colour when certain chemicals are present. We've created a quiz for you to work through using the information on the next few slides. The quiz is just to the right of this presentation on our website. Good luck!